Take segment 3, liability to pay GST, page number 16. Liability to pay GST. See the first question. GST is not payable by recipient of service in the following cases. Service provided by way of sponsorship to ABC Limited, FCM or RCM? Sponsorship to ABC Limited. For sponsorship, what is the condition? Recipient should be body, corporate or firm. Take your notebook. Take your notebook and keep that notebook summary. You have written, na? Keep that. So, in case of sponsorship services, what is the condition for RCM? Recipient should be body, corporate or firm. Okay. So, here recipient is body, corporate. So, will it be coming under RCM? Yes, it will come under RCM. Then next, services supplied by a director of Galaxy Limited to Mr. Krishna. Director services to body corporate is only RCM, but this is not body corporate. They are providing service to an individual. So, that will be FCM. Services by Department of Post by way of speed post to MNO. Is Department of Post coming under FCM or RCM? FCM. Only services provided by government to business entity is only RCM. So, this Department of Post will be FCM. Service supplied by a recovery agent to SNSP bank. Recovery agent to bank will be coming under RCM. Now, what is the question here? So, GST not payable by recipient in the following cases. Not payable by recipient. Not payable by recipient means they are asking FCM. So, which cases it is FCM? 2 and 3. So, option A is the answer. Sorry, 2 and 3, no, sorry, 2 and 3, option C is the answer. Then second one, XX registered in Delhi purchased books from PC traders registered in Uttar Pradesh. Books are exempt from GST. XX arranged the transportation of these books from a GTA which charged a freight of 9,000 rupees for the same. GST is payable at 5% on such GTA services. Which of the following statement is correct in the given context? So, now tell me, usually GTA services, who will pay GST? They gave 5%. If they gave 12%, no doubt it will be FCM. They gave 5%. So, possibility either supplier or RCM, recipient, correct? But I told you one assumption. What is that? Usually it will be RCM if the question is silent. If the question says that it is FCM, then we need to bring it under FCM. Is it clear? So, in this case, who will be paying GST? XX on reverse charge basis, option A. Why option D is wrong? Why option D is wrong? If GTA opts to pay GST under FCM, then only it will be FCM. They are asking GTA will pay. No, usually it will be RCM. Then B option, supply of goods and supply of GTA service is composite supply, wherein supply of goods is principal supply. No, not that. Since exempted goods are being transported, GTA service is also exempt. No, wrong. We don't have any exemption like that. For example, books are exempted. Books are transported through GTA. We pay some freight. Is that freight taxable or exempted? Freight is taxable. Just because they are transporting exempted goods, not necessary that the freight should also be exempted. Is it clear? Next, which of the following services does not fall under reverse charge provisions as contained in 9 subsection 3? So, does not fall under RCM. Services supplied by arbitral tribunal to business entity. FCM or RCM? RCM, arbitral tribunal to business entity, arbitrator. Arbitrator service is covered under RCM. Sponsorship services provided to partnership firm, RCM. Sponsorship service provided to body corporate, RCM. Body corporate or firm. You see, you don't see my face. You see your notebook and answer. One notebook is there before you. You see that and then only you answer. Sponsorship service, when it will come under RCM, recipient should be body corporate or firm. So both cases it will be RCM, because they are telling to any firm or to any body corporate. Recipient is firm or body corporate, so RCM. Next, service of renting of motor vehicle for passengers provided to a recipient other than body corporate. What are the conditions for renting of motor vehicles? Supplier should be other than body corporate, but recipient should be body corporate, correct? But here who is the recipient? Here who is the recipient? Other than body corporate. So it will be coming under FCM. So option D is the answer. Got it? Then, in case of goods transport agency services, tax is to be paid under forward charge if. For GTA services, tax is to be paid under FCM. When? GTA FCM rate 12 or 5. 12 with ITC, 5 without ITC. So they gave 12%. GTA payable at 5%, GST payable at 5%, and factory registered under Factories Act is the recipient of GTA services. An unregistered individual end customer is the recipient, it is exempted. A registered casual taxable person is the recipient of GTA services. So only when it is 12%, no doubt it will be FCM. So option A is correct, odd one out. Option B is also correct, but B can come both under FCM as well as RCM. 5% means it can be FCM as well as RCM, but 12% means always FCM. So that's why option A is the correct answer. Got it? Next, descriptive question, question number 1. State the person liable to pay GST in the following independent cases, provided recipient is located in the taxable territory. Services provided by an arbitral tribunal to any business entity. RCM. We have no arbitrator services to business entity is covered under RCM. Sponsorship services provided by a company. Don't see supplier, see the recipient. Who is the recipient? Individual. So it will be FCM. Why not RCM? Sir, it will come under RCM if the recipient is body corporate or firm. But here it is other than body corporate or firm. That's why it will be FCM. Renting of immobile property service provided by central government to a registered business entity. Central government to business entity. Immobile property service. FCM or RCM? RCM. What if renting of immobile property is to unregistered business entity? Then it will be FCM. One more point, Indian Railways will always be FCM. Next, so that is what we need to write as the answer for this. But explanation when you are writing, be careful. That is important. See, it's not about whether you are writing FCM or RCM. It's about the explanation. First point you will write as RCM. What is the reason that you will give? Services provided by arbitral tribunal to a business entity whose turnover during the previous year exceeds threshold limit is taxable, and as the same is covered under notification 13 of 2017, therefore it will be coming under reverse charge mechanism. Okay. Second point also same. What is that? Sponsorship services provided to an sponsorship services provided by organizer of an event to a sponsorer who is a body corporate or firm is covered under notification 13/2017 and it will come under RCM. However, in the present case, as the recipient is other than body corporate or firm, therefore it will be falling under forward charge mechanism where liability to pay GST is on supplier. Some process will go now in your mind. The moment you see the question, some process is happening now. That process you need to convert in English and you need to write in the answer sheet. Nothing. Justification means it's not something you need to create that art. Nothing. So it's like Usually, how you think, how generally you think, in your mother tongue. Yes. Whenever you see certain things, whatever your mind voice will never be in English, will never be in some other language, but it will be in your mother tongue. Really. Or if you continuously practice in another language, forgetting your mother tongue for over a period of 5 years, then that will happen. Are you getting this? So, then when you speak with the other person in English, a conversion happens there. Correct? You convert it into English and you speak. Same thing. Whatever process that is happening in your mind while seeing the question, that you need to convert into English and write. Enough. So, that is called as justification. But don't just write the summary answer. It is RCM, it is FCM, yes, no, maybe, like that and all you should not. Okay. So, whenever we are speaking, we speak na. Hours and hours we are speaking. So, write that also properly you write. Third point, what you will write? Try. Third point, what you will write? See, you became silent. Something, respond. Third point, who is providing services? To whom it is provided? Business entity. So, what you will write? Any service provided by government to business entity is covered under RCM. However, in case of renting of immobile property to unregistered business entity or services provided by Indian Railways will be falling under FCM. In the present case, as the recipient is a registered business entity, it will come under RCM under notification 13 of 2017. Are you getting this? Like that. Next one. So, that is why I gave the answers there, so that you should know how to write that. Okay. Question 2, legal fees is received by Shushrut, an advocate. It is advocate services from Messrs. Tattva Trading Company, having turnover of 50 lakhs in the preceding financial year. So, is it taxable or exempted? Taxable. Why? Services provided by advocate to a business entity whose turnover during the previous year exceeds threshold limit. Therefore, it will be taxable. So, who will be liable to pay GST? Wherever advocate service and arbitrator service is taxable, it will be coming under RCM. Therefore, Tattva Trading Company is liable to pay GST under RCM. Next, state the person liable to pay GST in the following independent cases, provided recipient is located in the taxable territory. Services supplied by insurance agent to insurance company, FCM or RCM? RCM. Services supplied by a recovery agent to a car dealer. Recovery agent to a car dealer. Why not RCM? Recovery agent to bank. Now you understood why I asked you to write who is supplier, who is recipient. In exam they will confuse us like this. Now what we will think? Recovery agent. So recovery agent means RCM, like that we will think. No. Recovery agent to bank only RCM, recovery agent to any other person will be FCM. Then next, security services, services provided by way of supply of security personnel provided to a registered person. For security agency, what is the condition for RCM? Supplier should be other than body corporate and the recipient should be registered. So here recipient is a registered person, therefore it will come under RCM. Then number 4, decide which person is liable to pay GST in the following independent cases where the recipient is located in the taxable territory. Mr. Raghu provided sponsorship services to We Win Cricket Academy in LLP. So, who is the recipient? We Win Cricket Academy. It's a LLP. LLP means will come under firm. Recipient is firm. So, will the sponsorship service come under RCM? Yes. So, what are the conditions for RCM sponsorship service? Recipient should be body corporate or firm. Firm includes LLP. Therefore, it will be RCM. Safe Trans, a goods transport agency, transported goods of Kapil and Co., a partnership firm which is not registered under GST. What is your answer? Goods transport agency transported goods of Kapil and Co., a partnership firm which is not registered under GST. RCM, FCM or RCM? I told you usually GTA services will be coming under RCM, but check whether exemption is available. Sir, when it is exempted, if the recipient is individual, HUF, trust or AOP, that is AJP, not having a factory under unregistered, but here it is firm, so we don't have exemption, it will be taxable. By default, who will pay GST? GTA. However, if GTA opts to pay GST under FCM, then only it will be FCM, but that is not given in the question. That's what I told you. Usually we need to assume that it is RCM unless it is given in the question as FCM. So therefore, that's what I have given. In case of service provided by GTA in respect of transportation of goods to any partnership firm will be coming under RCM. So this Kapil and Co. is liable to get registered compulsorily and they need to pay GST under RCM. However, if GTA opts to pay GST under FCM, lock-in period 1 financial year, option to be exercised in the last quarter, that is 1st January to 31st March of the preceding financial year. Next, question 5, Mr. Vicky Franklin, an unregistered famous author, unregistered author means they will not go for FCM option, because to go for FCM option, the author should be registered. Again, I told you author services to any person, by default it will be coming under RCM. So an unregistered famous author received 3 crores as consideration from Shiv Bhagwan Publications located in Indore for supply of services by way of temporary transfer of copyright covered under section 13(1)(a) of Copyright Act 1957 relating to original literary works of his new book. He finished his work and made available the book to the publisher, but he has not yet raised the invoice. So Mr. Vicky Franklin is of the view that Shiv Bhagwan Publications is liable to pay reverse charge, but SBP, that Shiv Bhagwan Publications, does not concur with his view and is not ready to pay the deposit under any circumstances. So Vicky Franklin is telling, boss, it is not my liability, publisher liability. But publisher is telling, no, it's not my liability. I mean, everyone says, no, not my liability, then who will pay? So examine whether the view of Vicky Franklin is correct. What is your answer? Yes, because services in relation to temporary transfer of IPR pertaining to original literary by an author to publisher is covered under RCM. Further, if the view of Mr. Vicky Franklin is correct, what is the recourse available with Vicky Franklin? However, Vicky Franklin can register and opt to pay GST under FCM. If they have opted for FCM for the next 1 year from the date of exercising the option, they will only be paying GST under FCM. So Shiv Bhagwan Publication is not required to pay. Got it? Then next, question 6. In the following independent cases, decide who is liable to pay GST, if any. You may assume that recipient is located in taxable territory. Ignore the aggregate turnover and exemption available. First one, Veer Transport, a registered GTA paying IGST at 12%, transported goods by road of Dilip and Company, a sole proprietary firm other than specified person, which is not registered under GST or any other law. So GTA services, we transport a GTA paying IGST at what rate? 12%, means default it will be FCM. Transported goods by road of a sole proprietary which is not registered. So who will be liable to pay GST in this case? GTA. So because the rate is given as 12%, okay. But sir, won't it become exempted, sir? Won't it become exempted? Because here paying IGST 12%, transported goods by road of a sole proprietary firm. Sole proprietary firm means individual other than specified which is not registered. So unregistered it is exempted. But why are we not taking that view here? Because they gave in the first line ignore aggregate turnover and exemption available. If that line is not given, we would have written in the answer that it is exempted. We have now GTA service, check. GTA service provided to unregistered individual or trust or this HUF or AJP which is not having a factory is exempted. But we are not taking that exemption here because they are asking ignore the aggregate turnover and exemption available. So we are telling that it will be FCM. Then number 2, Mr. Kamal Jain, an unregistered famous author, received 20 lakh of consideration from PQR Publications Limited for supply of service by way of temporary transfer of a copyright covered under section 13(1)(a) of Copyright Act relating to original literary works of his new book. So who will pay GST? PQR Publications, RCM. Why RCM? Author is not registered. So by default it will be RCM. Only if author opts to pay GST and FCM, it will be FCM. Then next, question 7. Mr. Priyam, director of Sun Moon Company Private Limited, provided service to the company for a remuneration of 1,25,000. Briefly answer whether GST is applicable in the below mentioned independent cases. If yes, who is liable to pay GST? So for this 1,25,000 provided service to a company, so who will pay GST? If Priyam is an independent director and not an employee, definitely it is covered under supply and GST is payable by the company under RCM. If Priyam is an executive director means what? An employee of Sun Moon Company Private Limited, out of the total remuneration of 1,25,000, 60,000 has been declared as salaries in the books of Sun Moon Company Private Limited and subject to TDS under 192. So it will be coming under exclusion from supply. Employee to employer in the course of employment. However, 65,000 has been declared separately other than salaries in the Sun Moon Company Private Limited accounts and subject to TDS under 194J of the Income Tax Act as professional services. Now, as it is declared as other income, 194J, so therefore it will be covered under supply, and who will pay GST for that? Company. Company will pay under RCM. Already we discussed this, okay. Next, question 8. Income is received by Maharashtra government from renting of immobile property to Ganapati Moria Private Limited, registered in Maharashtra. Turnover of the company was 18 lakhs in the preceding financial year and applicable threshold limit to them is 20 lakhs. Is GST payable in the present case? If yes, who is liable to pay the same? So renting of immobile property to an unregistered person or registered person? Registered person, it will be coming under RCM. So when it is renting of immobile property by government giving immobile property on rent to a unregistered business entity, only FCM. Here it is to registered business entity, therefore it will be RCM. Sir, why exemption is not available? First general exemption is not applicable in case of renting of immobile property. We have first general exemption. What is that? Services provided to a business entity whose turnover during the previous year does not exceed threshold limit. But that point is not applicable in case of immobile property. That's why here we have not applied the exemption. Even though their turnover during the previous year was 18 lakhs, which does not exceed 20 lakhs. Got it? Next, question 9. State the person liable to pay GST in the following independent cases. Siddhi Builders, registered in Haryana, rented out 20 residential units owned by it in Sanskriti Society to Rudra Technologies, an IT based firm registered in the state of Haryana, for accommodation of its employees. Now, what is it? Renting of what? Residential property. To whom? To Rudra Technologies. Means it's not to a unregistered person, it is to a registered person. So renting of residential property for residential purpose to a registered person will be coming under taxable and it will be RCM. Okay. So Rudra Technologies is liable to pay GST under RCM. Second, Messrs. Purohit Consultants, a partnership firm registered in Delhi as a regular taxpayer, paid sponsorship fees of 70,000 at a seminar organized by a private NGO in Delhi. Now, sponsorship services, it is for some seminar, means it is not a sporting, therefore it will be taxable. And for sponsorship service, when it will come under RCM, recipient is body corporate or firm. Now see here, who is the recipient? No, Purohit Consultants is paying. Remember, whenever you are getting confusion, the one who pay the money is the recipient, the one who receive the money is the supplier. Who is paying money? Purohit Consultants. So Purohit Consultants is the recipient and they are a firm. Therefore, it will be coming under RCM. Got it? Next, question number 10. So this question number 10 is related to value of supply, not value of supply. This is related to our supply. We discussed one concept of Del-credere agent. Hope you remember that concept of Del-credere agent. Yes. So what is that? Del-credere agent will collect interest at the time when he collects money from his customers. So I will just repeat that point again, listen carefully. There is a supplier, that is there is a principal. I am a Del-credere agent, you are my customer. Now I will make payment to my principal and then recover money from you. So I will also be collecting a interest from you because I am giving you the finance facility. Now whether this interest will be taxable or exempted, so that depends upon who gave the invoice. If my principal has given the invoice to you, I am not the supplier, my principal is the supplier, then I am just giving the finance, so that interest will be exempted. Suppose if I am raising invoice, I am only the supplier, so whatever interest that is collected will be coming under interest on account of delay in receipt of consideration and that interest will be taxable. Apart from that, commission earned by the Del-credere agent will always be taxable. Now you read the question. Charm Limited registered under GST. Mark it as very important question. Already they asked it in November 22 exam. They can again ask this question for September 24 exam also possible. So because it is a very good question. Charm Limited registered under GST in the state of Jharkhand. Manufactures cosmetic products and appointed Mr. Handsome of Mumbai, who is registered under GST in the state of Maharashtra as their Del-credere agent. So Charm Limited is in Maharashtra. Who is Charm Limited? Principal. And who is their agent? Mr. Handsome of Mumbai. Okay. Next, continue. Being a Del-credere agent, he agrees to raise invoices in his own name. Underline that. He agrees to raise invoices in his own name. Means agent is acting on behalf of principal. He is only raising invoice in his name. And also guarantees for the realization of payment from the customers to Charm Limited. In order to realize the payments from customers on time, he extends short-term transaction-based loans to them and charges interest for the same. Okay, so he is collecting the interest. Whether that interest will be taxable or exempted? Taxable, because he is only raising invoice. Just now I told you, when the Del-credere agent is raising the invoice and when he collects some money for that, that will be coming, that is interest. That interest is for delay in receipt of consideration, because for the buyer who is the supplier? Del-credere agent. So this interest will be taxable. Mr. Handsome provides you the following details of transactions carried out during the month of March 2022. Outward supply, sold goods by Mr. Handsome in the DCA capacity. Intrastate transaction 2,80,000. So who is selling these goods? Del-credere agent. So will it be taxable in the hands of Del-credere agent? Yes. Why? Because invoice is raised by the Del-credere agent. Next line. Interest earned from the above customers for short-term credit facility provided for timely payment of dues. Whether this 20,000 also taxable? Why? interest on account of delay in receipt of consideration. Commission bill raised on CHAM Limited interstate transaction in respect of DCA services provided. Whether that commission also taxable? Yes, of course. Whether he is Del-credere agent or not a Del-credere agent, that commission will be taxable. So this is their outward supplies. Then inward supply, interstate supply of goods received from CHAM Limited. Since being a Del-credere agent, no consideration was paid and value under section 15 is 2 lakhs. Now listen, actually they are purchasing from whom? Principal. So for principal, it will become supply or not a supply? 71C. Supply or not a supply? 71C. It is supply. Why it is supply? As agent is acting on behalf of principal. So now supply by principal to agent, even though without consideration, constitutes supply under 71C. So therefore, that principal is liable to pay GST? Yes or no? In turn, he will recover the GST from Del-credere agent. So can the Del-credere agent take ITC on this? Yes. So on this 2 lakh rupees, GST paid can be availed as input tax credit. Same way, received training in marketing and distribution from CHAM Limited as per DCA agreement free of cost. Company charges 75,000 for such training when they provide the same to others. Now, is it supply under 71C or not a supply? Why? Why? (7)(1)(c) principal agent transaction is only for goods, not for services. See, you forgot. I told you that you will forget. You forgot. (7)(1)(c) principal agent transaction is only for goods, not for services. If you want, you check. Section 7, subsection 1. Summary we discussed. Take your book and see. 7 subsection 1 we have discussed. So in that summary is there. 7.1 summary, inclusions. Inclusions. What is that page number? 58. Check page number 58. Page 58. One summary table we discussed, correct? In that summary table, you see that, what is that? 7.1c is only for goods with respect to principal agent transaction. But this is what? Services. That's why consequently it is not a supply. Okay. Next. Applicable rate of GST on both inward and outward supplies is 9% each for CGST and SGST and 18% for IGST. Amount given above are exclusive of taxes wherever applicable. Subject to the information given above, necessary conditions are complied with for availment of ITC. You are required to calculate the gross GST liability and eligible ITC for the month of March 2022 of Mr. Handsome. Brief note should form part of your answer for treatment of items. Now, tell me what is that we need to do in this case. First, these three are taxable, 2,80,000, 20 and 30. And what is the rate applicable for goods? Everything is 9%, 9% only, correct? So everything is intrastate transaction, and this one is interstate transaction. First two you take, 2,80,000 plus 20, that is 3 lakhs. 3 lakhs into 9% and 9%, how much? 3 lakhs into 9%, 27,000 and 27,000. Whereas this 30,000 will be taxable at what rate? 18%, that is 5,400. Understood this? 27,000, 27,000 and 5,400. Next. Then what we have is the input tax credit. Input tax credit only this transaction, 2 lakhs. That too within the state or from other state, interstate. So IGST credit. So 2 lakhs into 18%, that will be 36,000. And we know that IGST credit can be utilized for payment of IGST, CGST, SGST in any manner, any proportion. So first 36,000 we are using for payment of IGST. See the next page. And thereafter we are using equally between CGST, SGST. So we got 11,700, 11,700 CGST, SGST liability. Simple. And you need to write the notes for this. Is it supply or not a supply, etc. and all those points you need to write. Understood? Good question, no? Lot of points are covered in this. Then question number 11. Mr. Jayesh, a registered supplier of Mumbai, received the following amounts in respect of various activities undertaken by him during the month of October 2022. Commission received as a recovery agent from NBFC. Commission received as a recovery agent from NBFC. What is your answer? Taxable or exempted? Commission received. Recovery agent is taxable, but it will be coming under RCM. So therefore it will be taxable in whose hands? NBFC, but it will not be taxable in the hands of Jayesh. So therefore don't add it to the liability of Mr. Jayesh. Is it clear? So that is this. It will not be taxable in the hands of Mr. Jayesh. Nil. Next. Actionable claim received from normal business debtors. What is the treatment of this actionable claim? So generally all actionable claims other than specified actionable claims are excluded from supply. Correct? So it is not a supply because it is not HC block. Due to that reason the answer will be nil. Amount received from ABC Limited for performance of classical dance in one program. What about this? Classical dance exempted provided the consideration does not exceed 1,50,000, but here it is 1,74,500. Due to that reason it will be fully taxable. Okay, and liability to pay GST is on supplier only, it is not RCM. So 1,74,500. Next, business asset given to a friend free of cost. The market value of all the computers was 51,000. No ITC has been availed on such computers when used for business. Okay. Now, what is your answer in this? Not a supply. Why not a supply? Disposal of business asset on which ITC is not availed. Consequently, it is not a supply. Then consideration received for 1 month rent from a registered individual person for renting of residential dwelling for use as residence. Exempted. Renting of residential property for residential purpose to a individual, registered individual, it will be coming under exempted. So this 15,200 will be exempted. Then next, details of input service. So far is the outward supplies. Now input services. Paid to unregistered goods transport agency for various consignments of transportation of goods by road. Each individual consignment in a single carriage was of less than 1,450. Paid to unregistered GTA of various consignments of transportation of goods by road. Each individual consignment in a single carriage was less than 1,450. We don't have any exemption. So it will be taxable. And paid to unregistered GTA, which means it will be covered under RCM. So on this 15,100, they need to pay GST under RCM. You got it? Next. All the amounts stated above in both the tables are exclusive of GST. Aggregate turnover in the previous year was 42 lakhs. You are required to compute the gross value of supplies on which GST is payable by Jayesh. First, this 1,74,500 they need to pay GST under forward charge. This 15,500 they need to pay GST under reverse charge. So this total 1,89,600. Are you getting this? And we need to write the notes for each and every point. But these notes you try to write in the table itself. Don't write like this separately. So all these notes you insert in the table itself, in the column. Reason being, you know, when they evaluate the answer sheet, they see this table. If this is wrong, if this 1,89,600 is wrong, what they will do? They will put 0 marks. They will not read anything. But when you write the note here itself, they will read that note. Okay, this is correct, 0.5 marks. This is correct, 0.5 marks. This is correct, 0.5. This is wrong, so no marks. Okay, and at least we will be getting some 1.5 or 2 marks. Understanding this, the step marks they will be giving. That's why don't write these notes like this. You try to write the note along with the point. So when you prepare the table, in that itself you write down the note, explanation also. Okay.